The downfall of Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequel trilogy is not bad. It's actually rather compelling once you take the time to properly analyse it. Anakin's motivations are set up very well from the start. In The Phantom Menace, he expresses an admiration for the Jedi, specifically believing no one can kill one because they're so powerful. Being from a backwater planet on the Outer Rim, his view of the Jedi is not informed by facts, but very likely by tall tales he's heard from drunk junkers in Mos Espa. Stories of these legendary warriors with magic swords that can cut anything. I believe the film's novelization actually opens with a scene along those lines. I'm not entirely sure, it's been like 20 years. So when he's whisked away to become a Jedi, Anakin's expectation is that he will become incredibly powerful. I don't recall if he specifically told he's the chosen one at any point, but that would help to further explain his expectations for himself. Either way, these expectations become particularly prominent in Attack of the Clones. He's separated from his mother for a decade and comes home to find her imprisoned by Sand People on the verge of death, and she dies in his arms. Anakin thinks he's supposed to be more powerful, again either from his own flawed preconceptions of the Jedi or from being told he's the chosen one. He thinks he should be powerful enough to save his mother. That he wasn't able to be contacted about her abduction or be here sooner because of the Jedi doctrine and wasn't powerful enough to save her despite still arriving before she died makes him feel like the inattentive, critical Obi-Wan is holding him back, marking the point where the wedge between him and the Jedi starts to form. And we can see the failings of the Jedi Council and their doctrine quite easily. They isolate children from their families and raise them with strict rules surrounding emotional attachments. They rarely get involved in the plight of the innocent. Mos Espa remains unliberated despite the active slave trade. They knew about it and could have saved his mother at any time in the last 10 years, but they did nothing. Their egos led them to conflate bringing balance to the Force with destroying the Sith, which is why the description of the prophecy changes between films.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force.
Is he not to destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force?
The Jedi were convinced that Anakin would do their job for them, not equalize the light and dark by reducing the Jedi to the Sith rule of two enacted by Darth Bane 1,000 years prior. While much of Anakin's decade of training eludes the audience, I think this extra insight into their failings is supposed to serve as a supplement to help us get into Anakin's headspace. Our context and his may be very different, but the conclusion is the same. The Jedi are prideful, ego-driven, powerful people who refuse to either share that power or use it to help the less fortunate, instead sitting in their ivory tower and waiting for someone else to come along and enact the change they could in a day. And Palpatine is there to take full advantage of that wedge between Anakin and the Jedi come Revenge of the Sith. Remember, Anakin never had a father figure in his life, and Obi-Wan is, by Kenobi's own admission, a brother to him, not a father.
You were my brother, Anakin!
Palpatine thus slips seamlessly into the role of father figure, becoming the only person who actively encourages Anakin and tells him what he wants to hear. The Jedi just boss him around, expect too much from him, and refuse him the rank of master without telling him why. We've all been there, right? Do this or don't do that. Why? Just do as I say. Is this really any better than the slavery he was liberated from? And the way Obi-Wan consistently goes off gallivanting around on these other missions far away from Anakin, combined with how we know he only trains Anakin out of obligation and not a genuine desire to mentor the boy, it really paints the picture of an absentee teacher, which is a massive contributing factor to the failure of Anakin's education. Of course, the curriculum was flawed to begin with, but it doesn't help. The Jedi are actually a lot like Anakin's peers from back home, who cruelly and dismissively belittled his attempts to build his pod racer. Anakin didn't really have friends. He only ever had his mother growing up. And Obi-Wan, who, again, is not truly invested in Anakin's training, cannot give Anakin that same unconditional love that he needs. Only Padme can. So when Anakin has a vision of Padme dying similar to those he had of his mother before she died, which prove the validity of these visions, it's easy to understand why the promise of learning to harness the Force in a way he believes he should be able to by now, denied him by the Jedi with whom Anakin already has several major gripes, teachings that could save the only other person who loves him unconditionally since his mother died. Anakin's fate is sealed. Him submitting to Palpatine after killing Mace Windu is the first sign of the despair that saps Anakin's will later on. Hope has always been what drove Anakin. He had hope that he could use his engineering know-how and racing skills to earn his and his mother's freedom. He had hope that he could return with Jedi powers to liberate the slaves of Mos Espa, his mother included. He had hope that, even after losing his mother, he could start anew with his wife by his side. He had hope that he could learn the ways of the Sith to save his wife and child. Once all that hope has been squashed, Anakin Skywalker dies and Darth Vader is born. This all helps to inform Anakin's decision making when it comes to his redemption in the original trilogy, strengthening that narrative. Remember, after Padme died, even realizing he'd been manipulated by Palpatine from the start, with no hope left to spare, Anakin accepted his grim fate and submitted to his new master fully. Without hope, he was lost. It's not in a physical sense that
he's more machine now than man.
Without hope, he became a will-less tool for the Emperor, enacting his master's will not out of a desire to see Palpatine's vision flourish, but because he has nothing else to drive him. The way he mournfully tells Luke,
"It is too late for me, son,"
in Return of the Jedi is far truer to his actual character than his taunting threats to turn Leia to the dark side. Darth Vader's most honest moments are when he tries to turn Luke to the dark side, knowing that's the only way they can be together. After all he's done, Vader believes they cannot be father and son in the light. But in the dark, there is hope. All Anakin truly desires is family. It's all he's ever desired ultimately. His mother is dead, his wife is dead, but his son could join him. It's the first time since he was put in the suit that Anakin has had hope to drive him. One might say that the titular New Hope in Episode 4 is not only hope for the galaxy, but for Anakin as well. And so we now understand that Vader's threat to turn Leia is actually just one last attempt to turn Luke, fueling his hatred to make him turn to the dark side so they can be together as father and son. It is, in Anakin's mind, the only way to have a family now. And his desire to overthrow Palpatine and rule with his son is genuine, as fans of The Force Unleashed know.
You never planned to destroy the Emperor.
"Not with you, no."
So with all of that in mind, all the failings of Anakin and those around him, all the loss he's suffered, the lack of purpose he's been stifled by for 2 decades, it's not the desire to end Palpatine in revenge that fuels Anakin in that climactic moment. The Sith Darth Vader already had his revenge a very long time ago. He doesn't see his son nobly fighting on, showing concern for another while being electrocuted, and suddenly become inspired to do the right thing. It's instead his persistent desire to have a family and protect it from a cruel end in an unfair galaxy. He failed his mother, he failed his wife, but he will not fail his son. And it's in that moment, as he lifts Palpatine into the air and throws him down the shaft to save his son, that we bear witness to the return of the Jedi, Anakin Skywalker. It's in that moment that that young boy from Mos Espa, who grew up on tall tales of the Jedi Knights, finally becomes the Jedi he always wanted to be. Anakin's arc is actually very well conceived. I think the issue came in the delivery. All the dry, unnatural dialogue and the flat directing. Really, it was mostly technical stuff that failed the prequels, not the actual story. If Lucas had delegated a bit more like he did with the original trilogy, I think people would have been a lot less harsh on the prequels, and the fall of Anakin Skywalker would be remembered in a much more positive light. It certainly wouldn't have taken a far worse trilogy with no substantial character growth or inner conflicts coming along to make people reconsider this one. If you liked this video, then may the 4th be with you, and it's back to Mortal May after this. If not, then you're probably just a sequel apologist, and you're going to hell for that, I'm sorry. Today's recommended channel is
So uncivilized.
a predominantly Star Wars channel that's made some very good Star Wars video essays on the main saga and Rogue One. Is this really any better than the slavery... Why am I doing quotations for slavery? Is this really any better than the... I almost did it again, oh my god.